I still wake up every day, not because I feel ready to face anything. Not because I have something waiting for me. But simply because the alarm goes off on time and my body has learned to respond to it long before my heart ever agreed to keep going. The sound slices through the quiet room, sharp and familiar. The same sound I've heard countless mornings before. And I reach out almost automatically to turn it off, letting my hand fall back onto the bed as I lie there for a few more seconds. Sometimes minutes, staring at the ceiling. I've memorized down to its smallest details, the same cracks spreading like veins. The same faint light slipping through the window. The same silence that exists only in that brief moment before the day officially begins. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing feels new. Everything is still there exactly as it was yesterday. And the day before that, and the day before that, this room. This road, this job, this life. Nothing has changed, and somehow that's the part that weighs the most. Heavier than bad news, heavier than loss. Heavier than disappointment. Because change at least means movement. And this stillness feels like being trapped in a moment that refuses to end. I eventually force myself out of bed. Not with motivation or purpose. But because staying there too long feels like admitting defeat in a way I'm not yet brave enough to face. I go through the same motions I've perfected over time, washing my face, brushing my teeth, getting dressed, each movement practiced. Mechanical, done without thought. Like a performance. I've rehearsed so many times that I no longer need to be present for it. I catch my reflection in the mirror for a brief moment. Just long enough to recognize the face staring back at me. Just long enough to confirm that yes, it's still me. But never long enough to ask how it's really doing. Because I know if I ask that question honestly, I might not like the answer, or worse, I might not have one at all. I still go to work, still step into crowded streets. Still let myself be carried along by the flow of people who all seem to know exactly where they're going. People who walk with direction, with urgency, with purpose written into their posture. While I move simply because stopping would mean standing out. And standing out would mean being seen. I repeat the same greetings. Hear my own voice responding automatically, sit in the same place. Turn on the computer, open the same files. Stare at the same screen. And begin another day that feels indistinguishable from all the others. Time passes, tasks get completed. Emails are sent, meetings end. Hours disappear, and yet nothing feels like it's moving with me. As if the world is advancing. While I'm stuck watching from behind a thick pane of glass. From the outside, I seem fine, fine in the way people are comfortable with. Fine in the way that doesn't invite further questions. Fine enough that no one looks too closely or asks twice. I still smile when people ask how I'm doing. Still smile when conversations feel too shallow for honesty. Still smile at jokes that aren't really funny. Smile so no one has to worry. So no one feels uncomfortable. So I don't become a burden. So I don't have to explain something I don't fully understand myself. I've learned how to smile at the right moments, how to soften my voice. How to appear present even when my mind is somewhere far away. And I do it so well that sometimes I almost believe it myself. But inside, something feels empty, not loud. Not dramatic, not the kind of emptiness people notice right away. but a quiet one that spreads slowly, silently, settling into every corner of my thoughts like dust accumulating in an abandoned room. It's the kind of emptiness that doesn't explode, doesn't demand attention, but simply exists day after day, until it becomes familiar. Like a room where everything has been taken away without me noticing, leaving only the echo of my own footsteps, the sound of my breathing, and the strange weight of being alone with myself even in the middle of a crowd. I tell myself I try very hard, and maybe I do. Or maybe I've just gotten good at convincing myself that effort alone is enough. I repeat the same promises in my head, that effort matters, that persistence will be rewarded, that this is just a phase, that things will eventually get better if I just hold on a little longer. I work harder, stay later, push myself even when I'm already exhausted. Tell myself not to complain because others have it worse, tell myself to be grateful, to think positively, to stop doubting. I try to believe that something will change, that one day all of this will make sense, but the harder I try, the less I see any results. Yesterday passes, then today comes. Then tomorrow lines up behind it. And everything looks exactly the same routine. Same worries, same unfinished hopes. Same promises postponed to an unknown future, except I feel a little more tired each time. It's not the kind of tiredness that sleep can fix. It's deeper than that. It's the kind that settles into your bones. The kind that makes even simple tasks feel heavy. The kind that turns rest into guilt and silence into noise. Financial pressure is always there. Not shouting, not demanding, but whispering constantly in the background. Numbers appearing in my head whenever I slow down or allow myself to breathe. Will this month be enough? Can I afford to rest? What if something goes wrong? Will the future be any better than this, or is this as far as I go? How long am I going to live like this? Family pressure isn't any lighter. Expectations are never said out loud, but they're present in every look, every pause, every casual question that pretends to be concern. How's work these days? When will things settle down? Why can't you be like others? They don't mean to hurt me, I know that. But intention doesn't erase impact. And those words still land somewhere deep inside. Somewhere already tired of carrying weight. I'm not angry. I'm not resentful. I don't even feel strong emotions anymore. I'm just tired in a way that's hard to explain. And without meaning to, without wanting to, I start comparing myself to others. It happens quietly, almost automatically. People my age who already have stability. People younger than me who have gone further. People who once stood behind me but are now far ahead, looking like they belong exactly where they are. I scroll through their lives in quiet moments, seeing milestones, achievements, celebrations, smiles frozen in time, and I wonder when mine disappeared, or if they were ever really there to begin with. I ask myself what I did wrong, whether I chose the wrong path, whether I missed something everyone else understood, whether I'm simply not good enough, or maybe never meant for big dreams in the first place. There are nights when I lie awake for hours, staring into the darkness, not because I'm overthinking, but because I don't even know what to think anymore. The questions repeat themselves, soft but relentless, circling back again and again. And none of them have answers. And in that silence, something unsettling becomes clear. the scariest thing isn't failure. It isn't disappointment. It isn't falling behind, it's waking up every day without knowing what I'm still trying for. I'm still alive. Still playing my role, still showing up. Still doing what's expected of me. Still moving forward in all the visible ways. But deep inside I feel myself getting smaller. Shrinking under expectations. Shrinking away from the dreams I once had. Shrinking until life itself feels too large to hold. Sometimes I can't hear my own voice anymore. I can't tell what I want. I can't tell what I need. I can't remember when I started disappearing. Only that it happened quietly, gradually. Without a clear moment to point to. And maybe that's when I finally understand it. Helplessness isn't loud. It doesn't arrive with chaos or noise. It doesn't announce itself or demand attention. It comes quietly. Settles in gently. And grows unnoticed on the most ordinary days. On days that look completely normal to everyone else. Until one day you realize you've been carrying it for a long time. Without ever knowing when it first began. I tried to push myself one more time. Then told myself it would be the last time. Then did it again, and again, and again. Each attempt carrying the same quiet lie that this effort would finally matter. That this time something would change. That this pain would at least lead somewhere. I kept whispering the same promises to myself in moments of exhaustion. In moments of doubt, in moments when my body kept moving even though my mind had already given up. Just try a little harder. Just hold on a little longer. Just be patient, just don't stop yet. I repeated those words so often they lost their meaning. Turning into sounds I made out of habit rather than belief. Something to fill the silence rather than something I truly trusted. And still, nothing changed. Not in any visible way. Not in any way that felt like progress. Everything stayed exactly where it was, unmoved, untouched. While I slowly ran out of strength, not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly, piece by piece. Day by day, until one day, I realized how little I had left and how long I had been surviving on almost nothing. There are moments when I have to face failure directly. Moments when there's no excuse left to hide behind. No circumstances to blame, no one else to point to but myself. Not the kind of failure that knocks you down instantly or draws attention or sympathy. Not the kind people notice and rush to comfort. But small failures that happen quietly and repeatedly. Failures that don't scream or demand recognition. Failures that simply exist and return again and again. Patiently wearing down a person's faith until disappointment starts to feel normal and hope feels naive. Failure like that doesn't arrive all at once. It settles into your routine, into your expectations, into the way you look at the future. Until one day you realize you're standing in the middle of an empty space. With no clear direction, no solid ground. Nothing ahead that feels reachable and nothing behind that feels safe. I don't have the strength to move forward anymore. But there's no road left to turn back to either. And everything behind me feels just as heavy and uncertain as everything in front of me. Giving up is something I've thought about more times than I can count. In quiet moments when no one is watching. In exhausted moments when even breathing feels like effort. In moments when the idea of continuing feels heavier than the idea of stopping. But I can't do it, not because I'm strong. Not because I still believe in anything. But because I don't know what would be left of me if I let go. Because I'm afraid that without trying, without struggling, without pushing myself forward even blindly, I wouldn't recognize myself at all. I want to say it out loud, to stop pretending. To finally admit that I'm tired in a way sleep can't fix. Tired in a way rest doesn't touch. Tired in a way that feels permanent. I want to say that I'm not okay. That I'm scared, not just of failure, but of becoming someone I don't want to be. Of waking up one day and realizing this numb version of myself is all that remains. But every time I open my mouth, the words get stuck in my throat, piling up there heavy and sharp, pressing against my chest until it feels hard to breathe. Because once I say it, once I admit it out loud, I don't know what comes next. Would anyone truly listen, or would they just wait for their turn to respond? Would anyone really understand? Or would I only hear the same familiar lines again? The ones people repeat when they don't know what else to say: stay strong. Everyone goes through this. It'll be fine, words meant to comfort but that somehow make the loneliness deeper. Because they feel like a dismissal rather than understanding. I don't need advice, I don't need solutions. I don't need to be fixed or told how to improve. I just need someone to look at me and acknowledge what's already there. To say they see how tired I am. That they know I'm struggling. That they understand how helpless this feels. But I don't say anything. I don't ask. I don't reach out. I choose silence, silent when people ask how I'm doing. Silent when expectations press down on me. Silent when I'm judged for not being enough, silent even with myself. Because admitting the truth feels dangerous. Like opening a door I might not be able to close again. That silence isn't because I have nothing to say. It's because there's too much confusion, too much fear. Too much weight to fit into words without breaking apart. Some days I feel like I'm trapped inside my own life. Watching it happen from behind glass. Seeing everything clearly but unable to touch it. While people around me grow, change, move forward. And advance in ways I can't seem to follow. While I remain standing still, unable to move forward. Unable to stop, unable to escape. I'm helpless against my circumstances. Against the limits placed on me. Against responsibilities I didn't choose but still have to carry. Against a reality that doesn't pause to ask whether I can handle it. But what hurts more than all of that is being helpless against myself. Knowing I need to change, knowing I can't keep going like this. Knowing exactly what's wrong and still not having the strength to fix it, knowing I'm slowly falling apart, not in a dramatic collapse that anyone would notice, but in quiet cracks that spread a little more each day. And having no idea how to pull myself back up once I've fallen this far. I hate myself for that hesitation. For that fear, for that weakness. For the feeling of losing without ever having a clear moment of defeat. Sometimes I even hate that I still have to keep living. Keep showing up, keep functioning. Keep acting as if nothing is wrong. Because pretending takes almost as much energy as fighting. And sometimes, late at night, alone in the dark, I ask myself a question I'm afraid to answer: if tomorrow looks exactly like today, will I still have the strength to wake up? That's when I realize something painfully true. Something no one likes to say out loud, that effort is not always rewarded. That trying doesn't always lead to results. That endurance alone doesn't guarantee anything. And that some people don't lose because they give up, but because they keep trying long after hope has already run out. I stand there frozen between exhaustion and responsibility, between the desire to let go and the fear of losing everything I still have. Knowing there is no right choice, only wait. And in the end I still choose silence. Not because I'm okay, not because I've accepted this life, but because silence is the only way, right now, that I can keep existing without completely breaking apart. After everything, life returns to its familiar rhythm. Not gently and not thoughtfully, but automatically. As if nothing inside me ever shifted. As if the heaviness I carry has no weight in the larger flow of days. I still wake up every morning. The same pale light slipping through the same window at the same hour. The same distant sounds drifting in from the same streets below. And my body moves before my mind is ready. Driven by habit rather than intention. Following routines learned so deeply that I no longer question them. I still step outside, still lock the door behind me. Still walk the same paths. I've memorized so well that I don't need to look where I'm going anymore. My feet carrying me forward even when my thoughts lag far behind. I still blend into a crowd that keeps moving at full speed. Faces passing by without names. Voices overlapping into a single, constant noise. Lives unfolding all at once in directions that seem clear and purposeful. While I'm just trying to keep up with the act of moving. Pretending that movement alone means progress. Everyone appears to be heading somewhere important. Chasing something meaningful. Anchored by plans or dreams or urgency. While I drift alongside them. Matching their pace but not their certainty. Present in the motion yet absent from the destination. No miracle happens to interrupt this pattern. No sudden awakening shakes me out of it. No moment arrives where everything finally clicks into place or makes sense. No answers appear after long nights of silence and exhaustion. No clarity greets me in the morning, and dawn comes anyway. Indifferent to how little rest I've found. Life doesn't slow down just because I'm tired. It doesn't pause to ask how much I can still carry. How close I am to the edge, or how long I've been holding myself together. It keeps flowing, steady. Cold and impartial, as if one person's helplessness is never enough to disrupt its rhythm. Not even for a second. So eventually, I stop trying to explain, first to others and then, slowly, to myself. I stop searching for the right words because every explanation feels incomplete. Too small, too fragile to hold what I'm actually feeling. Some emotions, when spoken out loud, don't become clearer. They only fracture into smaller, sharper pieces that hurt more to hold. So I keep them unspoken and unshared. Burying them deep where no one else can reach them, not even me. I learn how to exist without expectations. Without hoping to be understood. Without needing to be seen or recognized. Without believing that things will get better or even different. Just continuing because stopping feels more dangerous than moving forward. I continue through days that leave no mark. Days that blur into one another until they're distinguished only by dates on a calendar. I barely pay attention to. Days that feel interchangeable. And forgettable even as they quietly accumulate into a life. I continue to do what needs to be done, pay the bills. Answer messages, show up where I'm expected. Function well enough to avoid questions. I continue to smile at the right moments when silence would feel suspicious. And I continue to stay quiet. In the right places where honesty would feel out of place or unwelcome. I learned the choreography of survival. The subtle timing of when to nod. When to laugh softly, when to say, "I'm fine." In a way that sounds believable enough to stop anyone from digging deeper, but not convincing enough that I start believing it myself. Some nights, I sit alone in the dark for a long time. With no music, no distractions. No thoughts I can clearly name. Not thinking and not feeling, just existing in stillness. Listening to my own breathing as if it's the only proof I have that I'm still here. Counting each inhale and exhale. Grounding myself in the simplest evidence of being alive. Sometimes I wonder when existing became something I had to consciously check. Something I had to confirm rather than simply feel. In that quiet, it becomes clear that helplessness doesn't disappear. It doesn't resolve itself neatly. And it doesn't fade away just because time passes. It only becomes quieter. Settling into the background of my life like a constant low hum I almost grow used to. It stays there in the pauses between words. In the soft sighs I don't realize I'm making. In distant stares that linger a little too long. In an emptiness that no language seems capable of fully naming or containing. It shows up in subtle ways, when laughter arrives a moment too late. When joy feels muted and restrained. When even relief feels temporary and fragile. Like something that might vanish if I acknowledge it too openly. I don't know what will happen next. I don't know where the road ahead leads. And I don't know if one day this weight will feel lighter or if I'll simply grow stronger shoulders to carry it. I don't know if I'll ever stop feeling this quiet heaviness. Or if it's something I'll live alongside for the rest of my life. Woven so deeply into me that I forget what it felt like to be without it. And for the first time, I stop searching for answers, not because I've found peace. Not because I've accepted anything. But because I'm too tired to keep asking questions that never respond. There's only one thing I know for sure. Some people are still alive, they breathe. They move, they speak, they function. They fulfill their roles, but they don't always feel like they're truly existing. They don't feel present in their own lives. They don't feel rooted in their own days. And they don't feel connected to the person they once believed they would become. And maybe, quietly, slowly, without anyone noticing at all, I'm one of them.